So good evening, everybody, and a very happy National Technology Day. Just a quick round of introduction. I am Kiran. I lead the solution practice for Noventic India. I have a team of members who take care of customer engineering, customer success, pre-sales across cybersecurity, data and AI, and cloud, especially on the multi-cloud part of it. Today's session is a bit interesting considering that this is all about technology, what we're speaking about, especially the fact that AI and data has been the core of a lot of enterprise. Just to give you a perspective, I mean, we've been working with a lot of customers, which is 100 plus enterprise customers, which across various verticals, be it BFSI, be it manufacturing or pharma, digital natives. One common conversation is that the AI, what we spoke about 12 or 18 months back, or the conversation has shifted dramatically. Today, it's not about just as a product pitch, it's more about how AI can build or weave into the overall business conversation. Today's session is more towards how we make it more cross-industry, more OEM agnostic, and help you understand that how and what separates an organization that are experimenting with AI and those are actually scaling it. So that's the overall crux of today's session. We just go this. So very important part. While everybody speaks about the fact that AI is everywhere, the eventual underlying part is how does it impact across the organization, whether it be banking, manufacturing, pharma, retail. The underlying impact, what typically enterprise organizations are, is in terms of where the impact lies. I mean, there are three simple questions. One is, what is AI driving measurable revenue for you in terms of ROI? What is the productivity or what is the improvement in the productivity at scale? Be it a 100 user or a 500 user or a 10,000 users, how is the productivity of employees coming out to be? And the third important part is the fact that where is the governance layer and how the board is comfortable in terms of running AI across enterprises. The data backs it up. I mean, close to around 72% of the CEO do want to run AI on their entire ecosystem, but hardly 10% or less than 10% who has actually seen the day of light in terms of pilots moving on to either production or in terms of some tangible outcome. The important part is that the 3x greater returns, what they show it as a peers, is not from an incremental improvement, but more from a structural advantage. Most firms follow a more of a predictable pattern. They generate ideas, run pilots, and then nothing. I mean, the funnel breaks even before the scale starts. The question we need to answer today is that why does this happen, and why, or what do the leaders do very differently from driving AI as an adoption? Important part, while the session of today was in terms of frontier firm. So just to give a perspective that what is frontier firm? I mean, who is defined as a frontier firm? I mean, frontier firm is somebody who don't ask, can we use AI? They ask, where should I fundamentally use and change how we work, whether it could be for selling, serving, or decision making, the entire life cycle, whichever is required. So that's where the framing or the technology agnostic approach, which typically firms look at. This brings us to the concept that the rest of the conversation around this frontier firm. Frontier firm is not a company that uses AI. It's a company that's operate differently because of AI. The distinction matters is in terms of on the left, you see measure out most of the organization watching today fall somewhere in this column. AI is confined to more of an isolated pilots. Technology layer is on the top of a legacy structures. Innovation is not led by IT typically, but more from a business, not by business outcome. And the governance, the important part of security is something which is very fragmented. And security is more reactive. Whereas on the right, the frontier firm, the actual frontier firm is AI is embedded in the core of the operations. The investment decisions are driven by outcome, not just by a technology hype, because some of my peers are doing something on those lines. No. And definitely there is a platform mindset, not just from a solution mindset, but more from a platform that you are completely agnostic. And the underlying from a security governance at scale, which is blocking, is simply definitely taken as a proactive approach rather than a siloed or from rather than a siloed approach. And that shift can be to where should be is the difference between experimentation and transformation, and it is entirely technology agnostic. This applies whether you are on any cloud, any AI platform, or any technology stack per se. Okay, now why does this pay off? Why do frontier firm win? Uh, it's more in terms of concrete terms of essentially four uh, boxes what I put together in terms of advantage. First is the faster decisions, because frontier firms are redefining what scale means. It's no longer about workforce size or capital investment. It's more about intelligence and capacity. How fast can your organization process information, identify patterns, act on them? The second is cost to serve, is essentially the underlying fact in terms of any technology investment is in terms of the cost factor. When you embed AI across operation, it's just not department, it's more about automated workflows which compounds. Every process that gets smarter makes the next one cheaper to run. And the third important part is productivity, which is a very direct, tangible outcome which is visible, is in terms of anything giving you a 49 to 30% of AI advantage in terms of leading firms, in terms of doing certain cognitive works, not just from a data entry, not just from a form filling, but more from an analysis, problem solving, creative thinking. That's fundamentally a different value proposition to your employees or the workforce. And the fourth one is essentially the fact that better experience. I mean, how can it be more hyper personalized engagement at scale? Your customer don't compare you to your competitors anymore. The compare you to is the last best experience what they had with you or with anybody else. And the underlying part is that the fact 58% of the producing work is essentially frontier professional. They are producing work that is impossible to do a year back. And another 80% of the enterprise expert that AI agent is the operations within 18 months. This isn't a 5-year horizon, but more something which is happening in next 12 months, 6 months, 18 months down the line. Now, the four critical questions which I spoke about now is essentially the framework what we typically follow and what organizations should look at. Uh, each of those questions are broadly in terms of the readiness towards AI outcome, scale for your enterprise to reach out to your AI services, and then underlying is in terms of operating model. And all said and done, there is always a gap in each of this, and let's see how we can actually pivot on each of these things and what are the best practices around which is required. Now, interesting part is two columns, AI readiness. Uh, how do we become AI ready? I mean, what I can say is that I want to challenge a common assumption here is that AI readiness is not about buying just an AI licenses. And I see a constant mistake that company buy 500, 200 seats of AI licenses, something on Copilot or a cloud, and then they call it themselves as an AI first. It's in a very funny manner. It's more about you buying a gym equipment and calling yourself that I am fit, I have built my muscles. I mean, that's not how it works. uh, Essentially AI readiness has to be in three pillars, and none of them are AI first. I mean, whether it could be cloud or data or foundation. You need scale infrastructure, elastic compute, criticality, unified architecture. If your data is scattered across 15 systems, and there is no integration layer, no AI model will save you in this. I mean, 70% of the enterprise still struggle on the basic aspects of data governance, integration, and who owns what. And that's exactly is your starting point. The second important part is security and identity. While every model, every agent, every copilots creates a new attack surface, governance needs to be built in the form of data to model to agent, not just doing a out of the box deployment. And third, and the critical part is in terms of where the company skip is in terms of change management. and skills associated to that. AI literacy across workflows, employees, role redesign, human AI, collaboration patterns. If people don't know how to work with these, it will be as good as not leveraging your AI at scale. I mean, that's one of the critical juncture where your skill and chain management definitely needs to be uh, looked out. Next is in terms of the measurable outcomes, which is the second part of this slide, is in terms of conversation. How do we align AI to measurable business outcome? The number one reason why AI initiatives fail in technology, it's because there's an absence of clear business KPIs. I mean, frontier firms, they just don't fund AI projects, they fund business outcome. I mean, it always has to be in terms of what is the outcome you typically look out for. And the third outcome is categories in terms of revenue acceleration, personalized customer experience, predictive sales intelligence, market opportunity detection, cost optimization. These are the ones which typically are looking for. From a cost optimization is in terms of how can you automate a lot of routine processes, uh, reducing operational overhead, improving resource allocation, productivity in terms of uh, very repetitive tasks, something on those lines. And what improves is who measures it, when do we stop, when do we scale. If you can't answer all three, then it's better you don't start. I mean, in BFSI, we see an organization link Copilot adoption to cost to income ratio. That's the metric the CFO cares about. In manufacturing, it's overall equipment effectiveness. In pharma, it's time to market from a regulatory submission. The AI is the same, but the outcome framing is what is the real business challenge which needs to be addressed. The next is scaling, and when I say scaling, which it definitely includes security. How do we scale AI safety across enterprises? Uh, the paradox is that every CTO lives with scaling AI without governance and creates a risk. Uh, Over governing AI kills innovation, and the frontier firm typically needs to balance both of this. The three principle is essentially in the left hand side. What you see is that platforms over point solution. Every time you deploy a standalone AI tool, you create a technical debt. Reusable foundation make every subsequent use cases faster, cheaper, and safer. Build the platform once decisions are right. Life cycle gates built into deployment workflows. Uh, that's how you can typically look into it. And the other important part is multi-model strategy. I mean, how do you build various multiple models which is more relevant to your organization or various businesses or something on those lines. Uh, on the right, you see is in terms of what is your operating model, and that actually separates the experimenting firm to a true frontier firm. uh, what operating models for the AI are typically defined in terms of what is the AI underlying model you want to use. The number will always be alarming because every CXO has been investing a lot of dollars in AI technology with no operating blueprint. I mean, how to get used to it or how to reach is in terms of one is definitely to have a central guardrails with a distributed innovation. Give business team a freedom to experiment. I mean, a lot of time what happens is there's a lot of restrictions or blockage given in terms of either in terms of security or in terms of risk or something on those lines. But that flexibility and the freedom definitely needs to be created, and essentially also to the fact that you don't actually risk out any of your enterprise security. You need to have all your stakeholders aligned, and the fusion between the business, technology, security has to be there. It cannot be a hands-off approach, but more from a collaborative approach. Probably you can have a RACI matrix defined in terms of who does what, but it always has to be more from a what can be delivered to a business. What is that you can give it as an outcome to your business, and the mindset shift, continuous adoption should not be like a one-time rollout, but it's more of an evolving engagement which should be there. And AI should not be be treated as an ERP implementation. There is no go live date per se. Uh, what that's once you're done is done, and probably you forget about it. It's about developing your ongoing capabilities, doing a realignment to your business, probably deploying or discovering a lot of new use cases, and you always have to measure, iterate, reiterate. It's a life cycle which needs to be there. It's like more of a forever kind of a life cycle. And bottom line is, scaling without governance is risk, but having said that, over governing is also a stagnation. So that's where the balance typically needs to be done per se. Now, let me connect you to the fact that how we do differently or how we are doing it for our customers in Noventic. Same journey what we spoke about: assess, modernize, secure, transform data, because data being the underlying uh, ecosystem which is now required for all our customers, and then we drive it at scale with AI. We just don't directly put any AI tools in terms of, okay, this is the license you need to buy and just go ahead. We don't start with that. We start with where business wants to win. I mean, we have seen successes where business team has been equally inclined, more uh, engaged with IT or with partners like us in terms of driving AI adoption. And then we do a backward alignment in terms of what technology, and more from an agnostic, which is more relevant or more appropriate to your either a business function or your vertical or your business outcome KPIs. And the underlying framework of security and operating model is where we typically uh, work on. The five capability pillars is modernization, migration is essentially moving workloads to an AI ready cloud foundation. And definitely I want to emphasize the fact that we work across hyperscaler. We are not locked into a one vendor per se. The right platform depends upon either your existing landscape, your regulatory context, or any of the workloads which are either dependent on any of your third party applications or any of your legacy ecosystem, something on those lines. Cybersecurity and governance, very important. The security controls, identity management, compliance frameworks across the AI lifecycle is something which definitely is a part of our assessment and the framework what we build through. With the DPDP Act requirements evolving, it's definitely a non-negotiable aspect. And the data transformation is essentially to the fact that how do you integrate in your existing data architectures, what's the quality of governance you can bring into play, what's the best AI model in this world can be brought into it, and how can we ensure that we don't have a siloed data system and we focus more in terms of driving AI solutions for business outcome, whether it could be in form of co-pilots, agents, automation, all aligned to a revenue cost and a productivity KPI kind of an ecosystem. And not for technology's sake. With our managed services, we run our managed services for multi-cloud, cloud optimization, 24/7 SOC. Uh, and this is just not about just building and handing it off. It is about we bring that entire structure in terms of do a complete assessment, sit with your business, build something for you, and operate, and then hand off. So that's that, and this is across verticals what we have seen in our ecosystem with our customers. Now, the interesting part, what we have done is, before even I move to what is customer zero and what we are doing is, I just want to give you just or probably a glimpse in terms of what we have built internally, playground, which is accessible to our customers. And what we typically feel is quite useful in terms of enticing your use cases, or probably enticing your uh, mind share in terms of what different use cases across industry. So we have 98 odd use cases across verticals, industry verticals, even the micro level within BFSI or a manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, those kind of aspects we have built. Uh, classically in manufacturing, end-to-end operations transformation using multi-agent AI that connects your procurement, production, quality, logistics into one autonomous system. That's what we have done. Then another is in terms of uh, agents, proactive loan default prediction, I mean, personalized inventory advisory, dynamic risk profiling, automated financial crime investigation. So these are the things what we have built. I mean, it's something which is available as a portal. I mean, you can definitely reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to walk you through. If we have what the interesting part of this portal is that we have created more of a click through walkthrough kind of experience. So if you can pick one of your use cases and you can see how what use cases, what data sources have been pulled, where and what has been done from a backend architecture is what we have done. And I highly encourage that once the session is done, probably uh, we can connect back. I mean, this is a good conversation starter about, because typically what we have seen is a lot of customers or partners come back with either a PPT or more of a brochures sharing it across you, which typically is forgotten by once you are out of the meeting. So this portal will definitely help you out. I mean, you can reach out to our marketing team, and then probably we will see what best can be brought onto the table. Now, the important question is what's customer zero? I mean, while we spoke a lot about what we do for our customers, but we also do what we preach. I mean, we are practicing what we are preach. Uh, in terms of a scale with organization of 5,000 odd employees, we started adopting a lot of AI solutions internally. Uh, right, it could be right from an HR to SOC operations for us, where a lot of AI augmented threat detection we have inbuilt in our SOC operations, so that the amount of workloads and the response time has been dramatically reduced. Uh, we have also deployed around AI co-pilots for 1,000 plus odd employees across, not just from an executive standpoint at a CXO level, but more from a uh, sales team, field team, operations guy, support staff. And we have seen it. We've seen a lot of positive response in terms of what we have been able to bring from an AI adoption standpoint. I mean, from a framework standpoint, we did a stress testing in terms of who are the key stakeholders who should be touched upon, the entire life cycle in terms of helping our employees to adopt AI or understand the overall AI language in terms of education and change management. And the validation is more towards doing a KPI driven KPI driven outputs, something on those lines. So this is something where we are doing, and a lot of prototypes and agents have also gone live with our organization within our organization. While it may be not at scale per se, but it's in terms of helping productivity across employees or certain business functions per se. And definitely, you would want to know that as a partner, are we adopting AI? Yes, the answer is yes. And we have statistics to show that how we have been able to progress on to that. Uh, Jumping on to the next. So what's your logical next step? I mean, what we thought of is more of a practical framework. Your first four steps should be the first four step towards becoming a frontier should be in terms of doing an assessment, conduct a very honest AI readiness assessment across data, infrastructure, security, skilling, governance. Uh, the reason I mentioned honest is the fact that a lot of organization aspire in terms of driving AI, but they actually miss out on a lot of data collection or data integration or something on those lines, which takes a backseat and eventually the framework falls through. Second is priority, because the one thing I have seen is that a lot of customers come back with us saying that I want to do 20, 30 or AI agents, blah, blah, and stuff. But honestly speaking, it doesn't scale per se. But if you can pick two or three which is tied directly either to a revenue or a cost or a productivity or with something which is more measurable KPI, that's a narrow start. And once you get a confidence within your organization is when you can think about uh, scale. I mean, scale what works, kill what doesn't. I mean, that's what I would say. The step three is in terms of fixing the foundation, address data quality. I mean, data has been the, I mean, data is the oil, what typically people call out. So addressing the data quality and the security gap early at the stage of the design phase is worth our investment of time, because once you scale, there could be a certain times you may not be in a position to either fall back, fail back, something on those lines. So that could be a right uh, position for you to actually fix our foundation layers. And the fourth is the governance framework, establishing a decision right, operating model, life cycle control, scale pilots to production. Governance after the fact is always more expensive and less effective than governance by design. I mean, that's what I would leave on to it. And you don't need 50 AI use cases, three, four, pick one or two departments within your organization where you can get some KPIs delivered, is where you definitely can think through, or probably you can start off to drive your AI adoption. Key takeaways, five key takeaways from today. One is AI experimentation without scale is a cost center, not a strategy. If your AI portfolio is collection of unconnected pilots, you are spending money, actually not investing. Second part is frontier firms embed AI across strategy, operations, and culture. It's not just a technology layer; it's an operating principle altogether. And the third part is every AI initiative must tie to a measurable business outcome. Again, if you can't name that KPI, it improves, then don't fund it. I mean, you need to know what business is or what business wants. I mean, if you cannot define it with a KPI, it's better you don't put onto your AI workforce onto it. Security, I mean, paradigm in terms of what needs to be done, readiness, right from people, security, data, not just from a technology standpoint. And the moment you get your foundation right, is the one that scales. I mean, uh, AI experimentation is common. Enterprise impact is rare. Frontier firm choose to lead. The question is which organization chooses to take it away. Again, I mean, it was a short session. Thank you for your time on this through the content, and love to hear from you. I mean, the chat is open. If any top of the mind questions which are there, we'll be more than happy to pick up the challenge with you. And definitely, one important part is how do we take up your AI portfolios in terms of what use cases are is something we are definitely there to happy. I mean, we're open to questions. I mean, more than happy to address any of your questions and probably connect back later also. There's no questions. So thank you, everyone. I know it's only short 30 minutes. And happy Technology Day. What I've given is more from a practical framework for thinking of AI at an enterprise level, not just to adopt. Uh, I think definitely there could be a couple of things we should look at is in terms of either you do a complimentary AI readiness assessment with us. Uh, we can do a complete walkthrough of all our use cases across industries, uh, and definitely share your insights. I mean, we are more than happy to come down to your office and probably have a more of an open-ended brainstorming session and see how we can help you adopt and scale at AI, and see how we can reshape your businesses also. So thank you, and hope it was a productive one. Good day.